Well, Chicago Fire fam, are we all okay? Because honestly, I'm not. The season 14 premiere just landed, and it didn't just start with a bang. It started with a complete and utter emotional gut punch. If you, like me, spent the entire hiatus dreaming of Severide and Stella finally getting their happily ever after with a baby, the opening minutes of the episode felt like a betrayal. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. They lost the baby. After all the buildup, all the hope at the end of last season, and all the years of trauma these two have endured, the show snatched that future away from them before the first commercial break. It was fast, it was brutal, and it left us all staring at our screens wondering, why? Why put us, and them, through all of this just to take it away? If you're feeling the emotional whiplash, you are absolutely not alone. This is Stellaride we're talking about. They are the anchor of Firehouse 51, the couple who proved that even in a world of chaos, fire, and loss, true love could find a way. We've been on this journey with them for years. We watched the slow burn, the will they slash won't they, the setbacks, the growth, the epic wedding, and the agonizing challenges. And let's be honest, their path to starting a family has been anything but easy. The scars that make this twist hurt more. Remember when they first tried to adopt? Remember Javi? That storyline was a masterclass in emotional devastation. They opened their home and their hearts, only to have that door slammed shut in the most painful way possible. It was a loss that lingered, a what if that hung over them. So when season 13 ended with the miraculous, hopeful note that Stella was pregnant, it felt like the universe was finally giving them the win they deserved. It wasn't just a baby. It was a promise. It was the universe correcting a past wrong. It was the ultimate symbol of their unshakable bond. We all went into the break believing that this was it, the start of their new, beautiful, and chaotic life as parents. And then Chicago Fire did what it does best. It reminded us that life is unpredictable, unfair, and often incredibly cruel. The premiere's revelation that they lost the baby wasn't just a new tragedy. It was pouring salt in an old wound. It felt, for a moment, like the showrunners were just being needlessly cruel. And this all lands while we're also bracing for another major loss. The premiere confirmed the rumblings that we're saying goodbye to Daniel Curry's Darren Ritter. With so much change and instability rocking Firehouse 51, taking away Stella and Kelly's joy felt like one blow too many. So, what on earth is the plan? Why make them, and us, suffer this loss? Well, showrunner Andre Newman has an explanation, and while it might not make the pain go away, it does, unfortunately, make a whole lot of sense. The cruel but real logic behind the loss. In a recent interview with TV Insider, Andre Newman broke down the decision, and her reasoning cuts right to the core of what Chicago Fire is all about. She explained that this kind of tragedy, as awful as it is, mirrors the shocking and unexpected emergencies that first responders face every single day. Their lives are defined by the unexpected. Furthermore, she stressed that starting a family is never a straight line. It's full of challenges, setbacks, and pain, and it was important for the show to keep that part of their story real. And she's not wrong. As much as we want to see our favorite characters wrapped in a bubble of happiness, Chicago Fire has never been a fairy tale. It's a show about flawed, brave people who run toward danger. Their jobs are intense, their hours are grueling, and the trauma they absorb is staggering. Trying to start a family against that backdrop is inherently messy. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but Newman is right. This loss, this profound grief, is a deeply human experience. In the context of a TV show, it's a powerful engine for drama, pathos, and character growth. But just as we were processing this devastation, the show did something brilliant. It didn't leave them, or us, in that pit of despair. It cracked open a window and shined a tiny, complex, and incredibly interesting ray of light on their future. A new path forward, The story that makes perfect sense. Just as Stella and Kelly were reeling, trying to figure out what comes next, a social worker brought them a new case. Not a baby, not an infant, a teenager. A teen who had been kicked out of a group home and had absolutely nowhere else to turn. And suddenly, the entire season snapped into focus. The showrunners didn't take the baby away just to be cruel. They took that story away to make room for the one Stellaride was always meant to have. Let's really think about this. Kelly and Stella, as parents to a newborn, with their 24-hour shifts, the constant danger, the physical and mental toll of the job. It would have been a logistical nightmare. It's hard to picture Severide, covered in soot after a 5-alarm fire, trying to handle a 2 a.m. feeding. But a teenager? A kid who needs guidance, stability, and a safe harbor more than they need diaper changes. That is a Stellaride story. Think about who these two characters are. Kelly Severide was that kid. He was a rebellious, angry, and often reckless young man who grew up in the shadow of a complicated father. Who better to understand a teen who feels rejected by the world? Who better to offer tough love, unspoken understanding, and a path forward? And Stella Kidd, this is the woman who created Girls on Fire. Her entire mission, outside of 51, is to empower, mentor, and lift up young people, especially young women, who come from tough backgrounds. She sees the potential in kids who have been counted out. It is the very essence of her character. This isn't just a rebound adoption. This is their calling. Losing the baby was a tragedy, full stop. But it's a tragedy that forces them to redefine what family means. It's moving them away from the conventional story we thought we wanted, and toward a story that is so much richer, more complex, and perfectly suited to their specific strengths. They aren't just going to be parents, they're going to be rescuers in a whole new way. They're going to give a home to a kid who has none, and in the process, that kid is probably going to be the one who ends up saving them right back. The premiere was heartbreaking, yes, but it was also brave. It closed the door on a simple, happy story and opened the door on a messy, complicated, and profoundly Chicago Fire story. We may have lost the baby, but we may have just found the real heart of Stella and Kelly's family. What do you think, 51 family? I'm still processing all the emotions, but I've gone from devastated to cautiously optimistic. This new storyline has the potential to be one of their best. But I have to know what you think. Were you crushed by the baby twist? Do you agree with the showrunner that it was a realistic move? Are you excited about the idea of Stella and Severide adopting a teenager? Drop all your feelings and theories in the comments below.